My name is Adnan Maksood. I am a quality evangelist and associated with the Royal Cyber for quite some time now, heading one of their product, which is for no-code automation named as GoTest Pro. I'm working at GoTest Pro as a QA architect, and today's session will be more about how we can do a left shift approach in test automation and move from coding towards no code automation, and how to minimize the total overall cost of end-to-end test automation, how we can leverage our manual testers to adopt test automation, and also some of the very key benefits that this tool can provide in your day-to-day testing activities where you can use it. Starting with the high-level agenda that what we will be covering today, a detailed overview of why QA automation and why it's so mainly required and needed within the organizations, how to cut the cost by using tools like GoTest Pro within your testing cycles and within your organizations when you're running any regression cycle or integration testing. Complete insight about GoTest Pro, also a high-level comparison between the market other tools such as Selenium, Cypress, and test automation-related tools, and QA services that we are offering. And also within this session, we will be having a very small but an interactive labs where you can explore more about GoTest Pro and how GoTest Pro can actually benefit you in your testing. Okay. Okay, so these are some of the statistics that I would like to share with you before starting the overall session. Software testing today is around 70% manual within this advanced world where we have AI and lots of other test automation tool, and resulting approximately of 1.7 trillion in loss due to the bugs. As you know that the bug that would catch at later stage, either in the staging, production, UAT cycles, so the cost of fixing of any issue raised drastically very high. So it is really important to capture all these bugs and issues within their early stages. And this is the key purpose of agile development or extreme programming as well, to have these bugs captured very early in the stage. Okay, and also manual testing is slow. It cannot scale. Organization that have tools like MTM, Microsoft Test Manager, or they are using Jira plugins like X-Ray, Zypher, or any, but they are not leveraging that beyond the manual testing. So it's very, very slow process to scale from manual testing, writing a test scripts and test use cases within your Excel sheet. It's drastically slow. And on the other part, the execution is also very slow. Imagine a regression plan covering almost 500 cases can be run manually by multiple QA engineers, consume a lot of time, effort, resources of the team and of the company. Allocating 15% to 25% of our total software development budget on these cycles when we run such a hefty number of test cases in the regression pack. Okay, so this is why we have to opt for the automation. And a quick overview: automation can actually not only save you the cost of the company, but also it's very time saving. On the other hand, it will provide a very kind of an agility within your end-to-end process of test automation. So you can speed up your testing. If you have any test automation tool like GoTest Pro, you can use it for the automation purpose. On a later stage, you can also integrate your test cases within the pipelines. Either you are using a Jenkins pipeline or an Azure DevOps. So you can actually integrate all your functional regression, API testing within those pipeline, and can quickly see the progress and how quickly you can test your builds within this. Also, by having tools like GoTest Pro within your environment, you can also allocate your resources in and other activities in the quality testing process, rather than they run one scenario day by day on the same build. Also, the test coverage is very accurate. The test coverage that this tool actually provides is the overall the area where your test plans are covering your test automation and the visibility to the management to see are we covering end-to-end scenarios or not. And accuracy is also there. Okay, as per some of the statistics, by 2026, the projected market for the test automation is around $50 billion. And the trajectory of increasing this rate is about 19%. So most of the 80% of the organization do acknowledge the need of the test automation and also know it's a cost saving and also a time saving activity. And also it can leverage your engineers to be more efficient, proficient, and can produce a really positive results within your organization in terms of the quality. Okay, so as I started with approach a shift of from automation testing towards the no-code automation. So when we talk about automation, mostly people think about of writing some code either in Java language, TypeScript, or any language they want to. But from there, it was an era of low code where coding was reduced and the other integrated tools were introduced. But nowadays, it's more of a no-code automation, where mostly the tools are either capable of automating your scenario with a very minimal interference of a manual testing, or it's an AI-driven tool which can understand your business, your problem statements, and can draft the whole end-to-end scenarios for you or for your business. Yes, please. Which language we have written down the GoTest Pro? Or GoTest Pro is a no-code language. There is no, you do not need to have a knowledge around Java, C Sharp, any language. All you need to know is a use case, test case, or a business scenario that you want. Yes, yes. This testing platform actually support enterprise applications such as SAP, ServiceNow, Salesforce, MuleSoft, also any B2B, B2C environments that you have deployed on a web. Apart from that, I will show you, it also support the visual testing. It also support the API part. Either you have a REST API, SOAP, or any API that you have integrated within your product, so you can use this tool for the automation, but there is no requirement of knowing any language, any coding language. Okay. Okay. So as I was talking about the low code and no code, so when we have a low code, we still are dependent on many factors. Either it's a coding language, you need to know how to debug a code, how to refactor your code. When there is any major changes are occurring, you need to update your scenarios, go into your repositories and write more code to update and make them work perfectly fine on the new environment. Dependability of the technical resources are still there. So you have to have a resource within their team, either it's a software developer, software test engineers, so they need to know about the code so they can update and do it, make those scripts executable. Also automation, you need to be either you're running on your local environment or you have configured it within the pipeline. You need to be upfront on that front as well to make them execute. Whereas if I do a high level comparison with the no code, in the no code we have a we just need to know about the scenarios or the use cases or business cases that we have to automate. Okay, we do prior that. Apart from that, we do not need to know any languages. Barrier is removed with GoTest Pro. Also, the dependability on the test automation engineers is reduced. So even if your team consists of actually business analysts, program managers, or a product owners, so they can use this tool to automate their end-to-end scenarios because they are very good in knowing the product from end-to-end cycle. So they can write down their scenarios and they can use this for the automation itself as the tool is. Okay. Okay. So what are the major key benefits that, yeah, please. Yeah. Okay. Okay. A good question. So in GoTest Pro, in GoTest Pro, the tool itself, so you will maintain all the scenarios. They are very easy to update. They are very easy to maintain as well. Because on the background, we are capturing everything in Java. No, you do not need to. You can, if for example, I have a login scenario that is automated, and tomorrow I have to update. There are multiple ways to update. I can open my IDE, GoTest Pro IDE, and I can launch the test case in an edit mode. And at the step where I need to update any scenario, I will go directly to that step, update that step, and save it. That's it. So there is no code involved in it. Just need to update the scenario by using the GoTest Pro extension, which comes along with the product itself. So you launch your test case in an edit mode and refactor it and save the changes and make it rerunnable again. Okay, so just after the slide, I will jump onto the product so you can understand it more better. So just to give you a quick overview on the benefit that GoTest Pro with the codeless automation can bring. So at level 0, actually what we are doing, we are just recording or capturing a scenario or a use case. Okay, and once we done with the level 0, we move towards level 1. Level 1 is a combination of level 0 and plus some other factors where we are enabling data-driven testing, parameterization, and such factors. So, for example, you want to use a data-driven approach within your test cases. You can bind your data set, a file of Excel with 100 users that you want to run on the test case. So you can actually integrate that file within your test case. So the same test will run for 100 or any number of users or any scenario that you have in mind. Also, for the parameterization, you can define the local and global variables. Local variables will actually be used within the test case, and the global variable will be used within the project itself. Okay, so imagine any API call that you are making to get the response from an endpoint, and then that same response that you want to use within your functional test. So in that scenario, you will actually make your variables either local or global, get the data from the API and insert the same data actually within your functional test cases. In level 2, it's a loop condition. So if else are there. So within the tool, you can enable if else condition to make sure if you have certain conditions in your test case where you have a if else scenario. So you can use that. Level 3 is a combination of all above levels that I've discussed, also decomposition. So you have a complex scenario that you need to break into a multiple test cases. So within one test case, you can make multiple scenarios, and that will accomplish your goal that you do not have to write one very long test case of 100 or 200 steps. So you can break it down easily. At last, coding. So you, even if tomorrow you feel that you want to extract your whole repository out of GoTest Pro into Selenium or any framework that you have developed in Java using BDD or page object model, page object factory. So you can actually extract that data, and then you can use that code within your own framework. Okay, just quickly, I will switch to GoTest Pro to show you guys how capable the tool is. Okay, so this is how actually the tool look like whenever you log in within your project, within the product. So you will see few of the options on the left hand side, and when you come to the project section, you will be asked to create a new project. Okay, so the projects that you can create within the GoTest Pro, the types available are browser testing, a UI or a functional testing that you can perform, along with the API testing that you can do. So you can choose the the project type that you want to create. Once you choose that project type, for example, I will just enter. Okay, and then you will define your environment details. For example, I'm writing all my test cases on a beta environment or a dev environment. So I will provide the environment name along with the environment URL. Once I have provided these details to the GoTest Pro, I will just click the save button, and also then I will click the save project button. Once I am done with it, I will move towards the test cases on the test section. Okay, on the test section, just let it load. Okay, in the test section, You can see few of the test samples that we have already created. I will just take one step back to show you one more thing. Okay, so in the project section, it's not about just we create one project with one environment. So we can create an environment with a project with a multiple environments. For example, the first project I have created with test, prod, and dev environments. So if my test cases need to be executed on the dev environment, I will switch to dev. If I have to run it on the production, I will use the production environment. On the background, the environment details and configuration will kept on changing. Okay, now moving to the tests. Okay, so when you came to the test section, you will be asked to create a test either using GoTest Pro AI feature. And if you are using an AI feature, so actually you can just click on this, a prompt will appear on your screen and you will just edit this prompt as per your need. For example, I need some test cases around functional testing, so I will use this prompt. In case I need test cases around integration testing, I will edit this prompt. For example, I want all the test cases or maybe 20 test cases generated by the AI. I will edit my prompt accordingly. And once I submit it, it will generate out of the box test cases for me, which I can use or discard as per my need, and then I can move forward to the project. Okay, once this is done, or the other way around is to manually add one test case name along with the test plan. For example, I have created dev end-to-end environment test. I will give that name. Also, in the test plan, I need to bind it with the test plan. Either it can be a regression plan, sanity, integration, whatever the test case is around, I will do that. Once I'm done, I will go into the test section. Here again, I have an option actually to generate the test case steps using AI, or I can use GoTest Pro extension. Extension is available on Google Extension Store, from where you can download GoTest Pro extension and connect GTP or GoTest Pro with the extension. And once you hit the record button, it will launch the browser. It will launch the browser along with the extension itself. Okay, on the left hand side you will see the application under test, and on the right hand side it's the recording which is happening, or recorder. Okay, now anything that you will perform on the screen, it will start getting captured within the extension. Okay, and apart from that, there are more features. When you right click on the page, you will see a GoTest Pro. Here you can do some actions, you can do certain assertions to validate your scenarios, you can define your local and global parameters, and also the visual testing. For example, you are doing a UI UX based testing, so you want to make sure that the images that you are capturing from your website or from your product needs to be same, either the text not getting changed, there is no style changing or a font size changing, so you can capture using visual testing. Okay, here, okay, there, if you want to integrate an API call within your functional test, for example, I will go here and hit the get. This is a dummy API request that I've just fetched. Okay, so now to extract the API endpoint detail, a response body is here. So now this response body I can use for multiple purposes. Either I can use an assertion to validate if the response is correct. If the response is correct and I want to use this response within my GTP, for example, this demo site that we are using, I can use it. So for that, we just have to do few clicks, like one click to on the title to use it within the email field, and then I will go into the variables and provide a variable name, username. And once I'm done, I will add this variable, click the save button, and my variable is stored. I will come back to the application and test. I will click the GoTest Pro. I will go into local variables, and all the variables that I have previously created or created now will appear within this. If I click on any of it, it will be selected to be part of that field once we run the test. Okay. In case I have to do some conditional statements, if else. So I will simply select the same option and go into the conditional statements and add if else condition. If, for example, user is authenticated correctly, I will be doing some steps on the cart or on the product. If it's not validated, I will verify if the credentials are correct or not. Such statements can be automated using if-else conditioning. So once I hit the conditional statements, it will wait for the elements that I need to select in the first if condition. For example, I will make this condition if okay. So if my email contains any value such as I provided, the expected result, I will provide it. It needs to be, after the value is validated, it can go and click on the login button or do something else. If the value is not validated, it might go on the forget password or sign up page from where we can create it. Okay, so if you have multiple systems integrated within your product, for example, your user journey starts from a mobile platform, then it comes to commerce site or a C4C HANA, something like that, where the customer data, its purchase orders, everything is maintained. So we can do it with GoTest Pro. You can start automating from your starting point of the business use case or a flow, and then you can navigate to another system simply by navigating to a URL option. You can just switch between two integrated systems and can keep continuing your testing within different systems if they are integrated. And you can do the validation in both systems. Either it's a hybrid mobile application or if it's a web application or a web portal that we are testing. Any questions so far? Please. Okay, so far, as of now, today, we are supporting hybrid applications such as Flutter, which can be used on web and also on the mobile. They can be used hybrid platforms. But in the upcoming release, which we are targeting in the next quarter, from there we can also integrate your native application within the product. You can provide the APK or IPA files within the GoTest Pro, and it will launch launch the mobile device, and it will allow you to navigate within your application just like you are doing with the web. To do so, right now we have done an integration with Lambda test. Maybe you have heard of it, a tool similar to a browser stack. Okay. Okay, so right now, whenever we try to run a scenario, you will see a local execution and a cloud execution. In the cloud execution, you can do a lot more of the configurations. Like, for example, I want to run my same test case on multiple browsers in mobile devices with different configurations. So I can just keep on simply adding those configurations within the available list. Okay, so right now I've just added one more configuration, and same for the mobile, I will do another configuration. In the next release, for the native application, we will launch Lambda tests similarly the way we are doing right now. But in that case, you will provide your IPA or APK file to the system, and it will launch your application. No, this tool works standalone. Yeah, there is no integration. The only integration that we have right now is with the pipelines. For example, in your environment, if you have a Jenkins or Azure DevOps or CyberChef, so you can actually integrate those pipelines with GoTest Pro, and you can run your test from the pipeline, and the results will be pushed back. Also, if you have a tools like Jira for the test management, for the user stories, PBIs, so you can integrate those tools. And also, if you are creating your test cases in a Gherkin language, BDD, behavior-driven approach, so you can use the same behavior-driven approach within this tool, GoTest Pro. So once I submit it, it will launch on the background. The job will be queued. At the point, we are supporting 5 parallel executions. So you can launch 5 instances of GoTest Pro on cloud, and you can run, for example, 100 test cases. You can run 20 test cases on each instance to speed up your testing process. Okay, now you can see it's queued. And for the local or the manual execution, you will simply hit the local execution. The same way, the browser will launch along with all the steps that we have, and the application under test will showcase what's happening. Any steps that get failed will be notified on the GoTest Pro extension and also in the report. the steps that are getting passed will be notified as passed. So right now this test got multiple scenarios. If I go down, I can show you I have broken down a complex scenario into multiple test cases within one. So you can just do that. Okay. And as far as if I have to do the same testing within Selenium, so I have to write a lot of code, a lot of lines of code, and then to manage and to maintain that code, even if it's Cypress with TypeScript or JavaScript, I have to do a lot of coding. And then I need to have a technical resource within my team who understand that code. But here, anyone, even if we are not a technical person within the team, they can understand what's happening because it's all visual and very easy to use. Soft assertions, hard assertions are within in the tool. So if you want to make any, for example, this is a soft assertion that I have done here, so that my test case has not failed, but the assertions show me that there is something wrong. Now, this is an if-else condition that is being done. So I have done with if the if condition is met, it automatically ignore the else part and go into the end of the test case. So once you are done with the test case, you will be navigated towards the results part. Okay, and in the results, let me open both the failures and pass. So you will see a lot of failures and few past test cases, and also in the previous runs you will see the pass. Okay, so what happened when there is a test case which is getting failed? Okay, so when you open the test reports, you will see why the test case is getting failed. The steps that are getting passed will be marked as passed.